So today I'm going to be creating a colouring page using Psalm 50 verse 10. For all the animals of the forest are mine, and I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. So yeah, let's get to it. I struggled to begin with on this hedgehog. This was my first sketch of the day, so I'm just warming up here and trying to figure out where the eyes should be in the relation to the nose and figuring out how it should look in my style, since I don't draw a lot of hedgehogs, surprisingly enough. I draw a lot of different animals for this forest animal picture, and even then I felt like I was trying to restrict myself to the number I would include. I ended up with the hedgehog, rabbit, squirrel, owl, badger and fox, although I used the fox from one of my other drawings. I will show you that later on. I also included a little forest scenery, some mushrooms, pine cones, trees, stuff I could easily picture in the forest that's local to me in the UK. I decided here that I wanted the zigzag pattern to go around the shape of the hedgehog. So I actually have created this verse here before, so I'm going to pop that image on screen. I know everyone is different, but I think one of the things I'm not so keen about drawing things like this in a journaling Bible is I can't recreate the verse or another one on the same page, especially as I left out a word in my cattle edition. Whoops! As soon as I had made that one, I knew I wanted to make one using the forest animals. Much happier with that hedgehog. Next I moved on to my rabbit. I think I picked this image because its markings are similar to the rabbit Snowy I had as a teenager. Although Snowy was black and white, I think it might have been a Dutch rabbit possibly. This looks more petite than my rabbit was. She was about the size of a cat. I know rabbits found around me tend to be plain brown unless they're escaped pets, so it's not really a wild rabbit, but I thought this looked more interesting for my colouring page, and I didn't want to make her look too plain next to the other animals, so we went with this. Drawing my squirrel now. I feel like I like squirrels partly because I approve of their diet. I love nuts, especially almond butter on toast with banana. So good. I made my squirrel a red squirrel when colouring it in, although I think I've only ever seen the grey ones before. I don't know what their numbers are like now, but I know that they did decline for a while. Have you ever seen one? I love the pattern I draw on the tail here. I love the fluffiness of the owl in the image I have copied. By the way, I have linked my reference images I used in the description below if you want to draw along with me. I'd love to see your forest animals if you draw this verse, and of course they might vary depending on where you live. If you do that, tag me at Instagram and drawn_to_dwell. Drawn some mushrooms. No idea if this mushroom is poisonous or not, but I feel like mushrooms are a love it or a hate it vegetable. I do like mushrooms though, especially through some spag bol. Yum. What about you? Are you a lover or a hater? Let me know. Finishing up the last elements of my colouring page now with my pine cone and a stereotypical type of tree I feel like you'd see in the forest. I found the badger quite difficult to draw, especially since the back legs aren't visible in a lot of the images I looked at. I felt like it looked more like an otter badger hybrid at the beginning. I think I was drawing the bottom too small to begin with when he actually has quite a big backside. I added furry texture to them all to try and unify them slightly. I feel like looking back that I could have even given him an even bigger bottom, but yeah, it's quite skinny. As always, I line them in ink before I scan it in to create a colouring page. I'm going to pop an image of my sleeping fox in here too, and the verse I used in it, although I feel like it's weird now that I used a nocturnal animal to illustrate a verse about sleep. What animal's your favourite that I've drawn here? Mine is probably the hedgehog. Here I am lettering the verse. I mess up in a few places, but because I'm going to trace the letters on my lightbox, that's okay anyway. I am using a combination of colouring pencils, Crayola Super Tips and my Copic chows. I'm glad I added the fox now because I thought about not including it when it was a drawing I had used before, but I think it really needed that pop of orange to make it stand out. I think it would have ended up too brown otherwise. Oh yes, and I added some berries when I edited the page together to fill any blank spaces. Although having cleaned a rabbit hutch quite a few times in my life, I was worried they might look a bit like droppings, so I tried not to place them at that end of the rabbit. Yeah. I forgot to colour the eye here, but don't worry, I do come back to that later. I feel like there's always something you forget to colour. I got there in the end. There is quite a few bits of greenery too. I feel like my mum would approve of this. Green is her favourite colour, but I can't limit myself to just the one. Do you have a favourite verse? Feel free to share it in the comments. Who knows, I might do it next time. I'm always looking for ideas for drawing scriptures. It was so hot when I was colouring here. I was just back from a walk in the countryside and I love a glass of milk. It's really good at quenching your thirst. I think I heard one time too that it's meant to be better than sports drinks at hydrating you, so who knows. I love the zigzagginess of my hedgehog, and yet again my love of drawing patterns is evident. This was a bit of a longer video, so I'm interested in what you prefer. Do you prefer seeing the whole process? Do you prefer the drawing or the colouring? It was sped up a lot, I can tell you, as there's quite a lot of elements involved in this. This was done over quite a few days. I'm not sure how long it took me in total. I did use a white Posca marker at the end here to try and add back some of the fur texture that had been lost in the badger, but I'm not sure how I feel about that, so yeah. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe if you liked this video.